The 1998 All Japan GT Championship got underway at Suzuka with a 300-kilometre race. It was a Honda 123 off the line on home territory, with the Ray Brick NSX driven by Akira Ida at the front, and the white Mobile 1 car of Tom Coronel following him. By the first corner, the Pennzoil GTR had got up to third position, where it would remain. Perhaps surprisingly, Coronel continued to follow the Ray Brick NSX throughout the entire opening stint, as the two Hondas started to pull away from the rest of the pack. The pair even came into the pits together very early in the race, making it clear that both Hondas had a very light fuel load. But during that first pit stop, an infringement was committed by the Nakajima racing crew, and that meant the number 64 NSX had to serve a stop-and-go penalty. And when it rejoined the track, it brought it into range of Eric Comas in the Pennzoil GTR. Comas didn't have to worry about overtaking the white NSX, as it made an unforced spin into the gravel. Trouble then struck the race leader, the Ray Brick NSX, grinding to a halt just past the pits with a throttle problem. It was out of the race. This handed a comfortable win to the Pennzoil Nissan of Comas and Masami Kageyama, much to Kageyama's delights. In GT300, it was a Toyota victory, with the MR2 of Shingo Tachi and Keiichi Suzuki taking the win. Round 3 of the championship was held at the Sendai Highland Raceway after the cancellation of Round 2 at Fuji Speedway, and it was again Honda leading from the start. This time though, it was the Castrol NSX at the front, and that's how it stayed after the first corner, with the Pennzoil Nissan in second and the number 5 Supra in third. In GT300 there was a great fight for the lead between Masahiko Kondo in the Zanavi Silvia and the yellow RE Matsumoto Kiyoshi RX-7 of Shinichi Yamaji. Eventually, Tachi in the MR2 got ahead of the Silvia, and then passed the RX-7 for the lead in GT300. Back in GT500 there was trouble for the race-leading NSX, clutch trouble to be specific. There was better news for Honda fans though, as the Ray Brick NSX was working its way up through the field after starting 10th, including this close fight with the XL Skyline. The 5 Zigan Supra was the next target for the hard-charging NSX, making a neat move up the inside to get past. Soon, the race-leading Pennzoil Skyline came into view, and as the pair passed the abandoned Takata Dome NSX, the Team Kunimitsu car took the lead. But that's where the good news came to an end for the Ray Brick NSX, which tangled with the distinctive tiger-striped Esso Supra, and out of the race with significant front-end damage. And this accident left it to the Pennzoil GTR to drift its way to victory. In GT300 it was a repeat of round 1, the blue MR2 taking victory. Round 4, the third race of the year, saw a return to Fuji Speedway, and a return of their regularly present Fog and Gloom. It was 3 Hondas up front, with the Ray Brick NSX leading the way. The Castrol NSX was second, and the Mobile 1 Nakajima car in third. The 3 Hondas then started to open up a gap to the rest of the field. Trouble in GT300 soon became trouble for the race leader, as the Okra RX-7 spilled oil all over turn 1 and sent the Ray Brick NSX into the gravel and out of the race, followed by the Mobile 1 NSX, which managed to escape. The GT300 MR2 was again putting in a good race, despite carrying 60 kilograms of success ballast. Meanwhile, the number 39 Denso Supra in GT500 had invoked the displeasure of the officials by passing underneath a yellow flag, after working its way up to second. And then, the Castrol NSX was black flagged for the exact same offence. It was then firmly directed to the penalty box by its team. All of this left the white Nakajima Racing Run NSX of Koji Yamanishi and Tom Coronel to take the win. It was Honda's first in the JGTC. Perhaps unsurprisingly then, there were some very happy faces on the pit wall, particularly that of Satoru Nakajima. With its indicator bulb flashing away as ever, the blue MR2 took its third GT300 win of the year. The 5th championship round was a first visit to twin ring MOTEGI's road course, after running on the oval in 1997. Fittingly for Honda's new track, it was an all-NSX front row. and despite the attentions of the Toyota Supras, the Hondas were in control of the first corner, and soon the Castrol NSX started to break away. In GT300, the Cusco Subaru Impreza was having a good battle with the MR2 of Mario Nitter and Peter Dumbrek. Back in GT500, the Raybrig NSX was once again working its way through the field after a poor start, picking off the Supras one by one. The NSX got past the Denso Supra first of all, and it wasn't long till it got past the FK Massimo Supra as well. Perhaps taking inspiration from the Honda's way by the Toyota, the Sard-run Denso car mimicked the move the following lap. The battle moved to the pit lane as the Raybrig NSX and the Denso Supra came in for routine stops. But on its outlap, the Denso car hit the barrier hard. The driver got out and felt that he was on fire. He wasn't. Tetsuya Tanagawa wasn't seriously hurt, but riding on board with him, it's clear to see what happened. The Supra exited the pits right into the middle of a tight battle between the Pennzoil and Calsonic Nissans. After trying to get round the outside of the blue skyline, the Supra was clipped by the yellow car, and that's all it took. Despite the sheer violence of the crash and Tanagawa's hasty exits, the car and its drivers would be back at the next race. Unsurprisingly for a crash of this severity, the safety car came out, and fittingly for MOTEGI, it was a Honda NSX. And as the field rolled past the pits, the Raybrig NSX took the lead from the Castrol NSX, which had stopped for fuels and a driver change. In GT300, the red MR2 of Nitter and Dumbrek found somewhere awkward to park as the race got back underway, passing the lead back to the white Subaru. In GT500, the battle for the lead was between the two Hondas, both surrounded by traffic, as the Castrol NSX tried to get back on terms with the Raybrig car. But the seemingly perpetually unlucky Raybrig NSX was hit with more bad luck and slowed suddenly. It had a puncture. The lead was now beyond dispute, and the Castrol NSX took full advantage, taking Honda's second ever victory in the JGTC and its first ever win at MOTEGI. In GT300, with the red MR2 out of the picture, the Cusco Subaru took that brand's first win in the JGTC. Once again, the Central Park Mine circuit was the host of the penultimate round of the championship, and once again the Hondas dominated qualifying, with 4 NSXs leading from the start, Raybrig ahead of Mobile 1, then Castrol, and the Takata Dome NSX. GT300 was as usual packed with a variety of interesting machines, headed this time by the new Wedsport Celica. A view that Kunimitsu Takahashi did not want to see out the front of the Raybrig NSX was that of the rear of the Nakajima Racing NSX, or indeed of the Castrol liveried car, but after missing a shift, that was the view he got, and soon the Takata Dome was in front as well. That Takata branded car was on the move, trying to move up the order. It got in front of the Castrol liveried NSX already. The difference in speed between the GT500 Hondas and the GT300 points leading MR2 is clear to see from this onboard. The Hondas have nearly disappeared from view around the next corner as the MR2 tries to get a move done successfully on the new Wedsport Celica and takes the lead in GT300. This served to give the Celica driver a good view of the new silver paint job on the MR2. Yuichi Wakisaka in the Takata Dome had snuck past the Castrol NSX for second, but Ryo Michigami wanted the place back, though Wakisaka was not making it easy. The Raybrig NSX pitted earlier than its rivals from 4th position. The Denso Supra came in as well from 5th, and a lap later the number 16 Castrol NSX was in. Then the Mobile 1 car came in, but it had lost time, and with it, the lead. Through its pit strategy, the Raybrig car had found itself back in the fight, and was chasing down the Takata Dome NSX. But that hunt came to an end. The number 18 car had slithered onto the grass, and it later slithered off it again, having lost a lot of time. It was easy pickings for the Raybrig NSX. Crossing the start-finish line, the Castrol NSX burst into flames just a few laps from the end of the race, while Samu Nakano at the wheel didn't spot the fire and kept on driving, until he couldn't anymore, leaving the marshals to put out the rather toasty NSX. The win then went to Team Kunimitsu's Raybrig NSX, which had finally kicked its bad luck into touch. In GT300, the Team Taisan MR2 took the win, making it 4 out of 5 so far, enough to secure the championship with a full race to go. The debut win for Team Kunimitsu in GT500, an early title in GT300, meant that there were a lot of happy faces post-race. The final championship round of the year was at Sportsland SUGO, which rejected its reputation for being unpredictable by having an all-Honda front row, the NSX having been on pole at every single race in 1998. That Honda pace was often tainted by reliability issues, and so it was at SUGO, with the Mobile 1 NSX grinding to a halt with mechanical issues just before the race had got going. The car had been second in the championship, and this failure to even start the race meant that the championship was wrapped up in favour of the Pennzoil Nissan. Coronel's disappointment was clear. As the race got underway, there were still 3 Hondas up front, and the Castrol NSX was the first into the first corner, followed by the Raybrig NSX, which got slightly shoved by the Takata Dome NSX in third. The Takata Dome car did manage to get past in the run into the first corner a little bit later. In GT300, the new champions led from the start, followed closely by the similar red number 44 MR2. In GT500, the FK Massimo Supra had caught up with the Takata Dome NSX, but its first attempt to get by was blocked by the Wedsport Celica, and despite applying a lot of pressure, the Toyota never got past the Honda. Well, not until the NSX headed to the pit lane. The Raybrig NSX then burst into flames, and the driver didn't fancy hanging around to find out what happens next. After the number 16 Castrol NSX made its stop, the battle for the lead warmed up again, with the Takata Dome NSX right on its tail. The number 18 car from the Kyoto-based team eventually got by on the main start-finish straight. While the Castrol NSX continued to chase the Takata Dome NSX, it never really got close enough to try and retake the lead. And so it was that the Takata Dome NSX won that team's first JGTC race. There was much celebration on the starting grid as the cars all came to a stop at the end of the race. In GT300, the Team Taisan number 25 MR2 won the race. With the title already in the bag, it had won 5 out of the 6 races. Masami Kageyama brought home the rather battle-scarred but championship-winning Pennzoil GTR in 6th, while Eric Comas celebrated with the team on the pit wall. Although the titles were decided, a number of the teams headed to the Tanaka International AIDA circuit for the NICOS ALLSTAR race, and keeping a perfect record, the Hondas led from the start, though one of them tangled with a Castrol Supra. Heavy damage was also sustained by the Autobac's Nissan, which limped back to the pits. Team Taisan, the GT300 champions, also had a moment and picked up a little bit of damage. Then it was more drama for the Nissans, as the Zexel Skyline of Aguri Suzuki made a mistake going into one corner, and got collected by the Unisia Jex car of Masahiro Hasemi. At the front of the race, the Pennzoil Skyline made an aggressive move to put the number 64 NSX on the gravel, and took the lead. In GT300, despite its earlier mishap, the championship-winning MR2 had fought its way back up to the front of the pack, and on into the lead. But then the race leader and the championship winner hit trouble and was forced to the pits. The Raybrig NSX then found itself in a fight for the lead, with the number 37 Castrol Supra. It then headed for the pits for a routine stop, but it was too slow, and when it rejoined, the Mobil 1 NSX, which had recovered from its earlier Nissan-induced run through the gravel, got by. It was a crucial move, and the Nakajima Racing Mobil 1 NSX won the ALLSTAR Cup. GT300 was of course won by the MR2. So, if you've enjoyed watching this 1998 JGTC season review, please hit like, subscribe and leave a comment.